You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Welcome to Southern Sisters Radio, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. Join us as we celebrate life from a Southern point of view. Here's your host, author, founder of Southern Sisters Home, Jenny McCormick Earhart.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Southern Sisters Radio program. We're so glad you're here with us. You are either a Southern woman or you're a man that adores them.
Oh, yes.
And you're equally important. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I'm talking right to you, Nick.
Don't know what we do without you.
You've got Southern women in your life that you adore.
Absolutely.
I know that you do. And, it's an interesting thing. We have some analytics that we look at every now and then. And I'd say it's pretty much right down the middle. We have about half of our listeners are men and about half are women.
There you go. Well, every good Southern gentleman has a Southern woman who raised him.
Yeah.
And a Southern woman who tells them what to do every day.
Thank you very much. Yes. And that's important in marriage, too.
Yes, it is.
That's like I tell with Earl, I said, you're Mr. Right. And I'm Mrs. Always Right.
So perfect. So true.
Putting that on a towel. That's what I need to do. Interestingly, speaking of I don't know what it says about Southerners, but many of you may know my Southern Sisters business. We do a lot of home products, and one of our best sellers is our flour sack towels. These are dish towels, basically, but we put all of my designs on the front of the towels, and we have maybe close to 100 different designs now.
Wow.
So we were doing a little shopping analysis recently, our sales analysis of which were our best sellers, and it's very interesting to me that the top sellers are all the ones that have to do with either drinking. For example, one of our top sellers is a towel that says, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy champagne, and that's kind of the same thing.
That's a valid point.
Then there's the one, or the sassy Southern women. That's a lot of appeal to people.
Oh, yeah.
And we have one that says, I'm from the South, darling. I will bless your heart and then slap the mess out of you. Then I'll bring you a casserole.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's actually our number one seller this year so far. So,
well, every good Southern woman has a little bit of sass, right?
Well, some of us have more than others.
Well, you have to deal with us, right?
I was thinking about something today when I was in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A getting my large sweet tea, which keeps me perky. It keeps me happy and it keeps me perky during the day. And I was thinking a little bit about something that I had heard from a friend recently who owns 2 restaurants. And she was telling me about the markup on beverages in restaurants.
Yeah, they make a killing.
It's insane what they make on
Absolutely.
that. I mean, some of those drinks that you pay $2 or $2.50 for in a restaurant cost them about 5 cents.
That's including the labor to bring it to you.
How about that? in most cases, they said the cup is more expensive. If you're getting a paper cup, it's more expensive than the
drink
beverage itself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it made me kind of think a little bit about money wasters.
Oh, there's so many.
Okay. And after doing a little poking around and a little bit of research, I came up with a list of what many people consider to be the top 6 mindless money wasters. These are the things that hurt your wallet, but it does it in such a way that you're not thinking about it. You know what I'm saying?
It nickel and dimes you to
Nickel
death.
and dime, the slow leak, so to speak, right? So, believe it or not, number one on the list of money wasters are convenience stores. That might not surprise you, right?
I'll just get a soda and a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And a candy bar. Whoa. Next thing you know, you spent $15.
Yeah, and that's on top of the gas you just bought,
exactly.
right? I know. Earl's thing is bear claws, only he's not allowed to have those anymore. I call those death in a cellophane bag.
That's true, but...
They're terrible for you.
They're delicious.
Trans fats, I know. He tries to see. He'll go in. He'll say, I'll go in and pay for the... No, you stay right here.
Make sure he doesn't get near the Little Debbie rack,
I'm
right?
keeping an eye on you. Step away from the Little Debbies. It's not good for you. But convenience stores, guys, many people don't think about the markup they pay for convenience store items, but it's huge. The markup is huge because unlike grocery stores, convenience stores don't buy things in large quantities, right? So they're paying more, and consequently, you're paying more.
Yep.
Plus, you're a captive audience, right?
Exactly.
You're standing there, you're getting gas, you're pumping gas. I'd like a little... munchie,
just a little
something,
snack, right?
Right?
It's not a big deal.
It's not worth the price that you pay for the perceived convenience. For example, a bottle of Coke at a convenience store might cost you around $2 easily from one of those twist top, and you can go get a 12-pack for a fraction per bottle.
Oh, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
One suggestion I heard was just get a 12-pack and keep it in your car, but I was thinking then it'd be hot.
Yeah, it gives you a Yeti cooler though. Those things work. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. I have a Yeti tumbler.
See, that's what I do. I have one cup that is not quite as tight, sealed. I put coffee in the morning, and then in my Yeti style one that's where the water goes, because the ice and the water and everything is in there all day
long. Isn't that amazing?
Cold.
All day long.
Wonderful.
The Yetis are great. I love those. Another great money waster are cell phone plans.
Oh my gosh.
They will get you. Won't they get you?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, so much.
They get you so much. So it's time. A good suggestion for everybody, check your monthly cell phone bill. I know I discovered this because I used to have a lot of kids on my cell phone bill when I had all 4 of them at one time, right? Plus a business phone, plus my phone, plus, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my gosh.
And the interesting thing is sometimes you need to update that. Like, for example, when I dropped a couple of kids off of my plan, once they got married and they were no longer on mom's dime, I forgot to go back and adjust my minutes. So I was really paying for way more than I needed. So if you have not taken a little, a gander at your cell phone bill lately, you might want to do that. You might be able to trim off some bucks there off your bill.
A lot of bucks.
Soft drinks. Now, this is kind of what we talked about earlier. Consider a typical family of 4 that might eat out, let's say, twice a week at a restaurant. Okay, assuming on average about $1.50 for a fountain drink. Although I have to tell you, it was $2.50. I paid $2.50 for one recently. Where was I? I don't
know if many places you go anymore where you get a soft drink at the restaurant for less than $1.99.
Right.
I mean, that's the least of that.
That's the very least. And their markup is huge because they're able to offer free refills.
Of course. And they have to pay for the cup once.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Anyway, but imagine this. Even if it was $1.50, if you had a family of 4, that's $12 a week, $48 a month, $624 a year.
Whoa.
Imagine that. So just cutting out this one item from your meal could mean significant savings. If you were to invest $624 at a 9% rate of return every year, you would have almost $32,000 at the end of 20 years.
Wow.
Something to think about.
Yeah, that's crazy. You don't think about it till you put it in that context. No. Over $600 a year on just soft drinks.
Right.
Just get water and a couple extra lemons.
The magic of compounded interest.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow. It's incredible. Now, another way that you guys might be wasting money, right, leaking, unnecessary bank fees. Think about this. And I know I discovered this when I had my kids on like one of those free checking accounts when they were young. And then once they hit 21, all of a sudden they were being charged.
Yep.
And that was no longer the best deal. There were cheaper options for them. Yep. A lot of times these things just happen when you're not looking. So once again, maybe take a minute. Take a look at your bank statement.
Yes.
What are you really paying for that checking account?
You'd be surprised.
Right? ATM fees if you're not at your bank.
Oh.
Right? I mean, some banks charge ATM fees when you're, exorbitant ones, when you're using another bank's ATM, right? Just know what you're dealing with. Some fees are $3. There are some banks that charge an upwards of 15% of the withdrawal.
Yes.
Right? Can you imagine that?
That's outrageous.
Yeah, depending on how much you're taking out. Right. Magazines are another way that they can really get you. If you're one of those ones that are picking up your magazines, oh, Nick, you do.
I don't.
Are you grabbing People magazine?
Yeah. Well, I'm more of a Vogue.
You're reading
kind of
about
reader,
Kate Middleton.
But no, not me.
Yeah.
But, a close family member of mine likes to have magazines that never get read.
Well, I got to tell you, if you just get a subscription, you're going to cut your cost by about 80%.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
There's just no.
Right, no.
If you are going to have a subscription, actually read it and use it.
Yeah,
please.
I know. And some of it's just garbage.
It is.
Yeah.
But...
and every now and then I'll get one. I'm like, I really don't want anybody to see me. When the kids were little, I remember. Now, I didn't have a subscription, but every now and then I'd get a People and I would hide it.
Oh, yeah.
Along with the chocolate.
Yeah,
hide the chocolate in the People magazine. Another way that you may be leaking money are annual credit card fees. Now, unless you have very poor credit history, there's really no reason to pay annual credit card fees. Many credit card companies, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, have no annual fee cards. And even if you're paying for one now, see what the current bank will do for you.
A lot of times, you can call and they will get rid of it for you.
Hey, I'm going to leave if you don't get rid of
They'll get rid of it and lower your interest rate.
How about
sometimes.
that? Sometimes it just helps to ask.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just say please.
I know, right? Absolutely. Well, guys, there you have it. Ways to kind of cut back on your spending, those mindless money wasters. Hey, we got a good show coming up. We have some, we're talking oils today, not massage oils. These are edible oils.
Ooh,
well, that
yummy.
sounds bad, too. Hold on. No, these are like olive oil. You know what I'm talking about?
Olive oil.
Walnut oil and how to build them into your culinary program. So we'll be right back.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com. and welcome back to the Southern Sisters show. Yeah, that's Talking Heads.
Love it.
I love Talking Heads. Just good, happy music, you know?
It is upbeat, very
and speaking
light.
of happy topics, olive oil makes me happy.
Really?
I know that's a strange thing.
Olive oil?
Well, that just speaks to my brain, the kind of brain that I have. But I think about food all the time, so olive oil is something that really kind of gets me going. But I don't stop there at olive oil, guys. There's canola, there's grapeseed, there's hemp.
Really?
Yes. There's avocado oil, vegetable oil, canola. What really is canola oil? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
What is a canola?
Well, I'm going to tell you. It's a very strange fruit.
Okay.
No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. No, actually, the canola oil comes from something called rapeseed, which I think is a terrible name.
Whoa.
I know. Rapeseed. But it's a flowering plant that makes some exquisite oil. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Interesting.
But you know, guys, when it comes to the performance and flavor, not all cooking oils are created equal. Maybe you have found yourself standing at Publix, Ingles, Piggly Wiggly, Kroger, name it, fill it in, right? Maybe you have found yourself standing in the oil aisle, staring at a vast array of bottles, wondering, what really is the difference? You know, does it really matter? Does any of it really matter?
They all kind of look yellowish,
right?
green.
Does it really matter what time it is?
Does
anybody really know?
Is it important, though?
Yeah. No,
How vital is it?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh.
All right, you ready? We're going to do the little Southern Sisters Guide to Cooking Oils, right? So grab a piece of paper, a pen, and jot this down. Now, let's start with what I call pure or regular olive oil, okay? Not EVOO, not the extra virgin, just the regular pure olive oil. Now, all olive oil is made by crushing the olives into a paste and then extracting the excess water from the mixture. And this can be done on a stone press if you have an inclination to make your own olive oil at home, which I do not. But on the commercial side of things, they use high-tech, steel machinery to do this. Now, light olive oil is then treated with chemical solvents to neutralize the flavor. It's lighter in taste and color, not calories, though. So when you see light olive oil, please don't be mistaken to think that it has less fat. It doesn't. The good news is it's the good kind of fat, right? It's the kind that you want in your diet, okay? So it is lighter in taste and color than extra virgin olive oil. And here's the nice thing. It has a smoke point, right? The temperature at which it begins to smoke of 465 to 470 degrees Fahrenheit. That makes regular olive oil or pure olive oil ideal for high heat cooking, all right? It's also good in vinaigrettes or just when you want a splash of something, right? How about that?
Absolutely.
Now, here's the difference between that and extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
Once the olives are pressed and the oil is extracted, you're left with extra virgin olive oil. It's not been neutralized with anything, right?
Okay.
No chemical solvents were used to neutralize the flavor. So therefore, it is very robust in flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, some people don't like the taste of extra virgin olive oil. They think it's a little too strong.
Yeah.
I happen to love it. It can have, depending on where the olives come from, and I use olive oil from Georgia.
Really?
Yes, I do. I use a Georgia-based olive oil that's grown on olive groves in Georgia. Yeah, I love that. But depending on wherever the olive oil comes from, the taste of the EVOO can be buttery, spicy, fruity. It could even have grassy notes. It just depends on where the olives come from. Kind of like wine.
Oh, that's very true.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
So EVOO's lower smoke point means it's really not the best for cooking. The smoke point's about 325.
Oh,
so
wow.
You can do some with it, but you really are not. Don't bother spending the money on the EVOO when you could just be using regular old olive oil.
Yeah, that's significantly lower.
Right.
Wow.
It's a great deal less. So depending on its place of origin, it can range in flavors from fruity to grassy to bitter or buttery. Now, what I like to do with this, especially since it tends to cost a little more, is I save it for vinaigrettes and finishing oil. If you've got a really good quality olive oil, you ought to, I'll drizzle it over hummus.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a flavored olive oil, drizzle it over chicken or fish or anything like that, right?
Yummy.
So anyway, and I will tell you, though, at 325 or less, you can fry eggs at that temperature.
Okay.
And so I have a friend that always fries her eggs in a little EVOO, and it's pretty darn delicious.
Wow.
Let's talk peanuts.
Yeah.
We're in Georgia.
Yeah.
Peanut oil It's pale in color, and it's got sort of a nutty scent and a pretty strong flavor.
Yes.
Now, it can go rancid real quickly, so you want to keep it in a cool, dry place and use it within a few months. Best thing to do with peanut oil is maybe buy it in smaller batches.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy a ton of it if you don't think you're going to use it all. It is recommended for high heat cooking. Smoke point is 450 degrees, right? So you can fry you some chicken.
Yeah.
Is that what Chick-fil-A uses? What kind of oil do they use?
I don't know. Maybe. I know that the whole the turkey frying peanut oil is what a lot of people will say is not a bad choice for that.
Right.
So I figured the frying.
The peanut oil, it might very well be. Now, corn oil is another one. Refined corn oil is also used in frying, and it also has a high smoke point of about 450. The nice thing about it is, unlike peanut oil, corn oil is very neutral in flavor.
Okay.
It's not going to impart the flavor of the oil into your food. You see what I'm saying? It's also a much lower price point.
Really?
Which is why a lot of restaurants will use it for their fried foods.
All right.
Corn oil,
and then
right?
And then the peanut allergy problem, too, if that's something
that's a big issue for a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And then there's coconut oil. Now, coconut oil is really pretty amazing. I have friends that use it as a moisturizer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of solidifies at room temperature. Now, it is solid, like I said, at room temperature, and which means it's not really that great for vinaigrettes, right? You can't. It has to be warm for it to be
An oil.
Right?
Gotcha.
However, it is good for moderate heat roasting, right? It kind of melts and gives almost a tropical scent when it's heated. So it might be nice if you're making some Polynesian chicken or, you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Hawaiian fried chicken or something like that. It's similar to butter consistency when it's cold, right? So you can measure it and use it in baked goods.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Very cool.
Coconut oil, all right?
That's awesome.
Now, vegetable oil. Now, when I was growing up, the only kind of vegetable we had in our house was vegetable oil. It was just, it was, I don't know if this was in the 70s, so people just, it was Wesson or whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. But typically, vegetable oil is a blend of different refined oils. It also is neutral tasting and smelling, has a slightly lower smoke point, around 400. I don't really use just plain old vegetable oil that much anymore, considering the preponderance of everything else that's out there.
Very true.
Now, here we come to the question about the canola oil. What is a canola?
Yes, what is a canola?
Here's the truth behind canola oil. It is pressed from the rapeseed plant. Once again, I hate that name, but that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's not a good name.
Canola oil is similar to vegetable oil in flavor, color, smoke point, and usage, right? Both canola and vegetable oil can be used in salad dressings. And here's the nice thing. You might want to cook with this and then finish off with some extra virgin olive oil.
Oh.
Start thinking of your EVOO as something that you finish off with. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And you also want to, store these in a cool, dark place.
Absolutely.
Keep it away from heat.
Okay, so a canola oil is kind of a canola vegetable or kind of your standard basic cook with, use after oils.
Exactly.
Your extra virgin olive oil is not a good cooking option.
Really not.
So that's why sometimes when you use it, you get that kind of the almost charred probably isn't the right word, but it tastes that way.
It's got a funny overtaste to it. It's also, it's gone beyond its smoke point, which it's not designed to do. It's going to lose its consistency and its flavor.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to tend to burn, right? So you don't want that. Now, you may have heard of grapeseed oil, which I actually love. It's a light green in color, and it is prized by restaurant chefs for its high smoke point of 420. But also, I like the way this is often described. I know chefs like to say that grapeseed oil plays well with others.
Right.
It's got the kind of flavor that's you can mix it with various things, and it doesn't fight with the flavors of whatever you're cooking.
Wonderful.
How about that? Avocado oil is another really good one because you know what? Those are really good fats in there. Good, healthy fats. I'll tell you something about avocado. It is a little more expensive, but do you know it has a smoke point of about 520 degrees?
Oh my gosh.
You can turn up the heat on the avocado, right?
So you could fry an avocado oil. I wonder how that would taste.
It would probably be expensive to deep fry, but think of sautéing or searing, where you don't need as much of it, right? So there's no need to refrigerate it when it's opened. But as with all the oils, just store them in a cool, dark place. I have a really pretty olive oil little jar on my counter. But I keep it small because I don't want to put too much in there at one time. Just what I'm going to use up over the course of a week or two. Otherwise, a lot of them, you can buy them in bulk in cans.
Yes, very true.
That doesn't let any light get in. Sunflower seed oil is another interesting one that's great for searing and sautéing. Anything that's coming directly from a seed where they have to press the seeds tends to be, it doesn't last quite as long. It can turn rancid a little quicker.
Got you.
Now, we're going to wrap up our oil segment here with what I love to talk about, toasted nut and seed oils.
Ooh.
Now, these usually come in smaller bottles. They're a little darker in color. The nuts and the seeds that they've used to make it, they've toasted them first.
Ooh.
So, like, for example, walnut oil is amazing. Pistachio. They are delicate in a smoke point. You don't want to heat them up at all, but they're big on flavor, right?
Wonderful.
So if you're making a special dish, a pan-seared tuna, right? Let's say a roasted chicken, maybe a salad, just drizzle some of this fabulous toasted seed oil over the top and you're good to go.
Oh,
hello.
Yummy.
Right?
Great finisher.
Oil on, y'all. We'll be right back.
Are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Turn off the telly, Nelly. From Come to the table, Mabel. Now sit up straight, Kate. It's time to eat, Pete. Have a banana, Hannah. Try the salami, Tommy. Get with the gravy, Davy. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
Welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. We are on the oil segment. It doesn't sound very exciting when I say it that way, but I got to tell you, oil is the key to happiness. It is the basis for so much of what I make in the kitchen, and I guarantee you guys are reaching for that bottle of oil probably every time you're cooking. You're either greasing something with it, you're sautéing something in it, right?
Very true.
Mixing it into something. You can't bake a cake without it. Well, you can. But most cake recipes call for a little oil. And the neat thing is, guys, that in this day and age, here in the South, you have access to so many wonderful different types of oils, including olive oil. And, I have to tell you, I have got an olive oil store near my home here in Atlanta that I just absolutely adore. It's an olive oil and vinegar store. And so, specialty stores that have unique oils and vinegars are popping up all over the country. You can get them flavored. I have tasted recently, in speaking of vinegars, I sampled a chocolate vinegar recently, which sounds a little weird. It was a little weird.
Strange.
It was a little bit strange. But one of my favorites right now is I have a Sicilian lemon olive oil that is to die for pan-searing fish.
Ooh.
It's a regular olive oil. Mm-hmm. I pan-sear it a little bit. I don't get the temperature up too high, but then I drizzle the olive oil over the fish at the end with some chopped fresh herbs, and it's just very summery and fresh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, guys, I got to tell you, I got a beef with somebody.
Uh-oh.
I have a beef with something. I always say, and I've mentioned this many times when I've done cooking demonstrations and things over the years, I mention sort of when I'm telling my story about how I got into what I'm doing, about a very pivotal moment in my, shall we say, my culinary past, my culinary history. And that was the year when my children were little, and I had a subscription to Bon Appetit magazine. And one year I decided to make the turkey and dressing recipe that was in the Thanksgiving edition of that magazine. So it would have been November, 19-something. It was a while ago. And at the time, I thought it was so unique and amazing. And I thought, I'm going to make this. Now, the stuffing had, I want to say, 32 ingredients.
Whoa.
It was a lot of everything and a little too much of some things. And it took me forever to make. It was a big pain in the butt. I dirtied all kinds of dishes and baking dishes and saute pans and everything. And finished this turkey and dressing. And my children just were kind of like, it's good.
I don't want to hurt your feelings because I know you just totally worked your butt off.
Right?
But it
wasn't worth it.
That great.
It was just kind of okay. Yeah. And I remember at the time thinking, I went back and looked at that magazine. And I was like, you sold me a pack of lies. Because I really thought if I spent 6 hours probably making the stuffing, that it was going to be wonderful. And it just was overdone. The kids in the end ended up telling me, we just like your good old-fashioned cornbread dressing, Mom, that you've been making forever, that your mother made and that your grandmother made. And so it was very pivotal for me because I came to realize that complicated is not best, right? Yes. And if you're cooking, if your intention of cooking is to impress someone just because of, for nothing more than the fact that the recipe is complicated and impressive and came from a certain magazine, then you're not doing yourself any favors.
No.
It's better to stick with what you know that works for you.
Yes.
And the ultimate judge in the end is your family. Exactly. If they like it and if they want to eat it.
Just keep sticking to it. Sometimes simple is the best idea.
Well, let me tell you what's not simple, Nick, is this Bon Appetit recipe.
I'm interested. So what's the deal
tomato.
with this?
Okay, so I have a recipe that I've used for a while. It's just a super simple kind of shortcut recipe for an heirloom tomato flatbread that I make every summer that I love. It is, and I was noticing that Bon Appetit magazine had a recipe also, and I said, I'm going to check out theirs and see how it differs from mine. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you how it differs from mine. Number one, the recipe is 2 pages long.
What?
Number two, it has 27 ingredients.
For a flatbread?
For a flatbread pizza.
What?
Yes. Now, I will admit that I have not made this recipe because I haven't had time to take off work for a day to make it. Okay?
I can't imagine.
I know.
What all they have.
Right. And I don't like to be snarky, and I don't like to, and as a rule, I don't criticize other chefs' recipes, even if I don't like them. But this is a whole magazine, and they should have known better. Yeah. What gets me is when magazines like this, they sell their magazines in grocery stores, and the majority of the people that are buying this magazine are home cooks.
Yeah.
And so you create this expectation that to make a really good tomato flatbread, you have to reserve, 4 hours of your afternoon and go purchase 27 different ingredients.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Then it's just not worth it.
No, it's a lie from Hades is what it is. So we're going to set this aside, and I'm going to tell you guys how to cut the preparation time down and your ingredient list drastically by making the Southern Heirloom tomato flatbread. Guys, this is so easy, and I make this every summer multiple times. I start with a shortcut. You may be familiar with the little naan breads that are in, you know what I'm saying? They usually come in packs of 2. It's that sort of Indian flatbread that has a wonderful consistency. I use them for little homemade pizzas all the time. They're easy to use. But what I do with these is I take them, I brush them with a little bit of olive oil. Let's say I'm going to make 4 of them. I would buy 2 packages. I would brush the naan with a little bit of olive oil, as we know about the smoke point on the olive oil. I will put it into the oven at about maybe 325. Just crisp it up a little bit, kind of give it that little bit of crispiness, right? And then what you're going to do in a small bowl is I would combine 8 ounces of cream cheese, a half a cup of sour cream, 2 cloves of garlic, and a couple of tablespoons of fresh herbs. Something that whatever floats your boat. I've done dill. I've done basil before. I've done thyme. Okay, what you're creating is just a cold cheese mixture that's very spreadable, okay? So this dish is served at room temperature. So you take the naan bread out of the oven, let it come to room temperature, let it cool off, and then you're going to spread, I'd say maybe about a 1/4 of a cup, maybe not even that much, of this yummy cream cheese, sour cream, herby, garlicky, cheesy mixture, right? That was a mouthful. Over the naan bread. You got it? Then you're going to need 5 to 6 fresh tomatoes. Now, if you want this to be really, really pretty, try picking up some heirloom tomatoes. They're so beautiful.
They are.
And go ahead. You can pull out your phone and take a picture and put it on Instagram. If you go buy yourself some heirloom tomatoes, which cost a little bit more, you would want to preserve this with a picture, I think.
Absolutely.
So I'll do like one of the little dark Cherokee purple tomatoes and maybe one of the golden yellow tomatoes and some good old red tomatoes and just kind of lay those nice slices of tomato over the top. And then here comes our olive oil, right? Our good quality olive oil. Drizzle a little bit of that over the top, right? How about a little kosher salt and some cracked black pepper?
Perfect little finishes. You
just eat it at room temperature, slice it up. It is to die for. I could make a meal out of this.
I was about to say, that sounds delicious. And that was
okay. I'm sorry. That was it. Okay. So
wait, we don't have to take half a day. All right.
No. So on one hand, we have, let's see, Jenny's recipe has, let me count up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ingredients. Excuse me.
Wow.
And guess what? One of them is the flatbread, which is already prepared. You just pick it up and put it in your grocery cart.
So was that part of the Bon Appetit? Is they wanted you to make your own flatbread?
Yeah, that was part of it too.
Oh my gosh.
And it's not that I'm opposed to bread making, but if I was going to make a tomato flatbread, I just wouldn't go to that trouble. It's not even the bread part that bothers me. It's just so elaborate. So many spices and herbs in here that I personally do not think you would even distinguish when you make it all and put it together.
And that's the other thing, too, I think a lot of people need to keep in mind is when you start seasoning something, you get to a point where you season it too much, not to the point where it tastes over-seasoned, but to the point where you can't taste any of it at all.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And some of the ingredients in her are things that I guarantee you wouldn't use more than once or twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you really don't, 1 teaspoon of sumac it calls for in here.
What?
They just need to get over themselves. I'm so sorry. I guarantee you a home cook did not develop that recipe.
They're trying too hard. That's what that is.
Anyway, so that's what I have to say about that. Now, we were talking about olive oils and all types of oils in our last segment.
Yes.
I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips on infusing your own olive oil. So you don't need to go to an expensive olive oil store and buy flavored olive oils if you don't want to. You can make your own. I'm going to give you a couple of quick tips on how to infuse oils. You put this in a pretty little jar, put a bow around it. It makes an excellent gift at Christmas time.
Perfect idea.
People will love to receive some infused oils.
Absolutely.
Just remember that at Christmas time.
All right.
I want a basil infused olive oil from you.
Basil. Okay. All right.
What you want to do if you're going to infuse your own olive oil is you want to choose a bottle that's right. You want to find one with a tight top or tight cover. A bottle with a cork stopper on top is really nice. That works really well. Metal lids can kind of rust over time, so you might want to avoid those. But just wash your bottles so they're good and clean. Allow them to dry. Then decide what kind of herbs you want to use, okay? You choose the herbs based on your preference, okay? Thyme, rosemary, sage, basil, oregano, these are all great. You can use fresh herbs or dried herbs, but if you use fresh ones, you want to make sure they're good and dry before you put them into the olive oil, okay? Bacteria can grow if you throw wet herbs in there, okay? Got it? Now, you want to wash the herbs first, dry them thoroughly, and then you're going to combine the herbs in the olive oil. And this can be done by placing the dried herbs in the bottom of the bottle, use a funnel, and pour the oil over the herbs and fill the bottle close to the top. Got it?
That's it?
That's all there is to it.
That sounds
Seal
wonderful.
the bottles and just store them in a cool, dry place for about a week. You know, what I like to do is every now and then I'll go back and kind of shake the bottle a little bit or kind of, swirl it around, move it around a little bit in there.
Working, right?
Yeah, it is amazing. You can store your infused olive oil in the refrigerator and use it, in about a week, or you can keep it longer if you use the dried herbs.
There you go.
How about that,
and that
guys?
goes back to the first segment. Money saver.
Money saver. Oh, you would save a lot doing this yourself. Yeah. Well, happy oil time, guys. Try these recipes, and of course, you can find them on our website, southernsistershome.com. Click on the blog. We'll be right back.
Steak, Jake. Pie, side.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. Well, I tell you, I'm happy to be here.
I am too.
Love hanging out with our Southern sisters and the men who adore them. Well, here we are, guys. It's happy time in the studio.
Yes. Well, it's a happy time of the year.
It is.
Especially as a parent, because the kids are back in school.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for the start of school.
Yes.
I think it's almost like God knows exactly when we've had enough. We've had enough summer fun.
You need a break.
You need a break. Yeah, you need a break. And I think it does a lot for the moms and dads' sanity.
Yes.
Just sending the kids on back to school now. So we have lots of reasons to be happy, but just in case you're not, there might be a reason.
Oh.
Yeah. So the Southern Sisters have some insight on, let's just say some habits that you may have that are stealing your happiness.
Oh, no.
Yes.
We're doing it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Norman Vincent Peale once said, our happiness depends on the habit of mind we cultivate. So practice happy thinking every day, cultivate the merry heart, develop the happiness habit, and life will become a continual feast. Now, that could be overstating it just a little bit, but I do think he's on to something there about this, what he called the habit of mind.
Yes.
You know, training your mind for all intents and purposes. I've often said my key to happiness has been low expectations. You know what I'm saying? So I'm continually surprised and happy because I just go in with a really negative attitude and then I'm like, oh.
I don't know if that's... Maybe not for everybody, but
I'm gonna learn
if it
something.
works for you.
I promise you, I'm going to learn something from this segment as much as anybody. I really am. Well, you know, I have to tell you, positive psychology is sort of an art form. And the gentleman that started The Power of Positivity, which is a website that I follow, that's also on Facebook, has a lot of great little sayings and just little thought-provoking, reflections on life. And it's just kind of they talk a lot about the art of positivity, right? And the founder of modern positive psychology, Martin Seligman, proposes that around 60% of your happiness is determined by your genetics and environment, while the remaining 40% is up to you. Considering that you have some control over your environment, you actually have a big sway in whether or not you lead a happy life. How about that, Nick? Right? Your habits are something within your control and play a large part in determining whether or not you experience happiness, right? So an important aspect of controlling your habits is being mindful. I love that word.
Yes.
It relates to consciousness, rather than just sleepwalking through life. You're conscious of what you're doing at this moment, in living in the moment, that mindfulness, right? So being mindful as to which things are making you happy and which things are taking away your happiness. All right. I'm going to tell you a little bit about 7 habits that some of us have that can steal your happiness away if you let it.
Moment of truth. Here we go.
And you might do this, and I definitely do some of these, okay? Number 1, and this may be no surprise to anybody, but one thing that can steal your happiness is comparing yourself to others. We've actually talked about this on the show before because I know that men do it too, but boy, women really do it. We've turned it into an art form.
Unfortunately.
We check each other. I've often said I think that women check out other women as much as men check out women because we're just comparing ourselves to them.
Probably. You're probably right.
You see what I'm
absolutely
saying? It's not a healthy habit. Now, good old Teddy Roosevelt once said, comparison is the thief of joy. And that is true and unfortunate at the same time. Now, whether it's someone else's physical appearance, their job title, right, their income level, their house size, whatever, comparing yourself to someone else is a very bad habit, and it will often bring a heavy dose of unhappiness. Because you can be completely content and happy with your situation one moment, but then suddenly you see someone else who has something better or different, and suddenly you're not happy anymore.
That envy.
Nothing has changed in your environment, right?
Yeah.
You've just now compared it to somebody else's, right? How about
Bad
that?
for you.
So as with many other human emotions, our tendency to compare ourselves to others is as natural as it is damaging. It's also something that you can learn to be mindful of and defend against. One great way of doing this is to become mindfully aware of your own success and remind yourself of them often throughout the day.
It's a very good point. Compare yourself now to yourself last year and years before.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
exactly.
healthy.
That is healthy.
Yes.
Right? I look back and say, dang, I was stupid.
Don't we all know?
Look how smart I am now.
Don't we all do that?
Right? I'm a doggone genius compared to me last year, right? But don't compare yourself to others. They have a whole different set of circumstances that have nothing to do with you, right? Now, number 2 habit that can steal your joy is working a joyless job. Now, I got to tell you, I have a lot of joy when I'm here in the studio with you, Nick.
Oh,
this is a joyful part of what I do each week.
I enjoy it too.
Good.
Absolutely.
See, it's joyful. You enjoy, good play on words there.
Yeah.
And it's contributing to our happiness.
Yes, it is.
If I may speak for both of us. So as Americans, we are some of the most overworked people in the world. Now, you also may know or may not know this, that we have the dubious honor of being the unhappiest in our jobs. Gallup conducted a study in which 70% of the 150,000 people polled were either disengaged or actively disengaged at work, a.k.a. miserable.
Yep.
Now, chances are you have been taught that work is not supposed to be fun. Well, shouldn't it at least be engaging? It should be. And if you're trying to live a happy life anyways, working a joyless job for no other reason than a paycheck will almost certainly result in discontent and unhappiness.
Let's be honest here, folks. You spend most of your time at work.
Right.
You know, I mean, of a single day, you're either mostly asleep or at work.
Right.
So you might as well try and find something that you enjoy at least a little bit, right?
A way that you can contribute, something where you're feeling productive. And if not, start looking for something else.
Yeah, you don't have to, you don't quit your job. No. But you can always find something else.
Because that would bring on other types of unhappiness.
Yeah, exactly.
And worry. Well, that actually does lead us to our number 3 bad habit for robbing us, I guess, of our joy and our happiness is allowing worry to control you. So worry is like a rocking chair. You like this? Mm-hmm. It gives you something to do, but never gets you anywhere.
Oh,
right?
There you go.
This is you should commit that one to memory, right? Going one step further, worry not only gets you nowhere, it can also extinguish the flame of your ambitions.
Yes.
Okay.
True.
So oftentimes worry is the byproduct of holding on to something that has caused you hurt and disappointment in the past, right? Best thing to do here is let it go.
Yes.
Right?
It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is exactly what you need to do.
Right. And we
for
all.
yourself.
I agree. Right. So there's one little trick then. Try to let those worries go. And, they say 90% of everything we worry about never actually comes to pass.
Yeah, very true.
So we're spending an awful lot of time worrying about things that aren't going to happen.
Doesn't matter how much you worry. The worry won't fix the problem.
It doesn't. It has no effect on it other than making you unhappy and miserable in the process. Right. Number 4 habit that may be robbing you of your happiness is thinking that pursuing pleasures brings happiness. Now, the pursuit of pleasure cannot provide you with enduring fulfillment, all right? And that even includes material possessions, okay? So there are really 3 types of happy lives. A pleasant life in which you pursue as many pleasures as you can. A life of engagement in which you find a life in your work, love, parenting, leisures, shall we say. And the 3rd type is a meaningful life. And this consists of knowing what your highest strengths are and using them in the service of something larger than yourself, right? Knowing what you're good at and channeling your abilities and talents in that direction, right? That 3rd type, the meaningful life, has the greatest potential for long-term happiness.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because the pleasures, you can chase those pleasures. They're fun for a little while, right?
I think that's kind of what you just said, the pleasures to the fulfilling to the meaningful.
Right.
I really think that's probably almost the progression of us as people. Because, you're 19, 20, 21, you're going out and, drinking with the friends and having a good time. Yeah, and you seek out the pleasures. And then you realize, need something a little bit more than that. So you start to do the fulfilling. Right. A parent, a professional, things like that. And as you start to get later in life, you realize, no, those things are great. That's wonderful. Yeah, what's the grand plan here, right? Yeah. That's a good point.
How about that? So there you go. So if you are living under the illusion that just pursuing the physical pleasures, the material pleasures is going to make you happy, you're going to end up being unhappy, right? Number 5, taking your unwelcome thoughts too seriously.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So possessing more brain power than the world's most advanced supercomputer is both a blessing and a curse. Your advanced thought processes are great for productivity, guys. Complex problem solving, and even meeting the demands of life. However, human beings have the innate tendency to overthink.
Yep.
Right? And that can rob you of your happiness.
Oh, yes.
So put those unuseful, unproductive thoughts where they belong, and that is not in your brain. Okay? Another way to habit for depleting you of your happiness is to neglect your passions. Even if let's say you're not crazy about your job Monday through Friday, you always have a way to then turn that around on the weekends and do things that do bring you passion and happiness. Those hobbies, maybe those things that you can't necessarily at this point turn into a job, a full-time job, but they're your passions, your pursuits. You know what I'm saying? Like that line from Sense and Sensibility that I watched over the weekend. She said, what are his passions, his pursuits? That's what I'm talking about. Right? Pursue those.
You're
okay?
Right.
Don't put it off. And then the 7th and final, most common habit to rob you of your happiness is putting things off. Believe it or not, procrastination is a joy robber, right? So guys, just think about it for a second. I mean, if you're having to do something that you aren't fond of, instead of doing something you enjoy, is mentally taxing, right? But then again, the dissatisfaction and the unhappiness that comes from, at the end of the day, realizing you didn't get any of it done is even worse. It's even worse.
You have to hang on to that feeling of, yay, I got stuff done.
Right.
And use that as your motivator.
Yes.
It's not easy.
No.
But you can do it.
The procrastination research group here in this country, I've been meaning to join that. I just keep putting it off. Guys, we are so glad that you joined us this week for the Southern Sisters Radio Show. Go to the website, southernsistershome.com. Check out the recipes at the blog. Send me an email. I love to hear from my listeners. radio@southernsistershome.com. Have a great week.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, our Southern Summer Recipe. The wonderful Jenny Earhart back in Wayne's World.
Joey, anytime I'm talking about food is my favorite time.
You know?
I do say the older I get, the more I think and talk about food. My kids tell me that. Yeah. They're talking about what I just ate, what I'm thinking about eating, what I'm going to eat tonight, and I have got something for y'all to eat tonight. Mm-hmm. This is, it's summertime, it's warm, and if you don't know it by now, there's a preponderance of tomatoes everywhere we look, right?
Everywhere.
I mean, they're piled up at the fruit stands, the vegetable stands. You can get them at the store, the farmers markets. What to do with all these gorgeous tomatoes in the summertime?
Well, you know what? My wife throws them at me when I make bad jokes.
Does she?
But we found a better use for tomatoes, right?
No, right? Tomatoes have their use, yes, even for bad comedians, no question about it. You know what I'm going to do with mine, though, this evening? I clipped an article recently from Bon Appetit magazine that was a very tedious article. It had a lot of ingredients, 27 ingredients in this recipe. And I looked at the recipe and I thought to myself, this is nothing more than the same old tomato flatbread that I've been making for years.
Sure.
But mine's only got 7 ingredients and takes about a fraction of the time.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So here is the easy peasy Southern heirloom tomato flatbread. Guys, all you're going to need, I'm going to give you the best shortcut in the world, is to pick up some of those non-bread flatbreads at the grocery store. They're already made, right? So you're not having to roll out the dough and make your own flatbreads. Non is one of my favorite brands. They come in 2-packs. So I typically will make 4 at a time. All I do is take the non-flatbread and I brush it with a little olive oil, pop it into the oven at about 350, toast them up just a little bit, right?
About how long you think?
Oh, not even 10 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Right? Then take them out and just plop them on the counter. Let them come to room temperature. This dish is not served hot. We just serve at room temperature. Now, in a little bowl, you're going to want to whip together 8 ounces of cream cheese, half a cup of sour cream, a couple of cloves of garlic, and then, just to make it fun, throw in some fresh herbs. Anything from the garden. I like to use dill. Sometimes I'll do chopped basil. Whatever floats your boat. It really doesn't matter. So now you've got a nice, soft, spreadable cream cheese mixture. So you're going to put a layer of that right on top of your toasted naan bread. And here come the tomatoes, okay? I'd use about 5 to 6 if you want to be beautiful and fancy. And, of course, if you want to take a photograph and put it on Instagram.
Well, naturally.
Naturally. You want to get some heirloom tomatoes. So I might do one of those Cherokee purple tomatoes and one of those golden tomatoes and a nice red one, and just kind of layer those in a pretty arrangement on top of that flatbread. Drizzle it with some olive oil, a little kosher salt, a little cracked black pepper. Hello.
Oh, man, you're calling my name right now.
It tastes like summer.
So I got to know, first of all, this summer heirloom tomato flatbread sounds amazing. When you bring up cream cheese, we have so many options. Are you a Philadelphia cream cheese kind of gal?
I like the Philadelphia. Now, some Southerners aren't crazy about that.
Right.
But, it's what you grew up on.
Sure.
It's what you grew up on. So I was raised on Philadelphia cream cheese. What you want to do with an 8-ounce block of this for this recipe is just let it come to room temperature.
Okay.
So it's easier to spread. And you can mix in that sour cream and the garlic and all of that.
So the whipped kind would be just as fine too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I say recipes are guidelines. You can play around with it. Maybe you have something that's easier or a different way to do this. I have a friend that makes a similar dish, and she just purchases that spreadable herbed cheese that's in the store.
Sure.
You could even use that.
Like the Laughing Cow stuff.
Exactly. You can use that. Right. Or I think, is it Alouette makes one, and I think it's Rondelet makes another one in the cheese section. The idea is just a nice, you don't want the cheese too thick.
Okay.
The crowning glory of this dish are those beautiful tomatoes.
Oh, man.
And we are in the heart of tomato season here in the South. So showcase those.
This is great stuff. And in case you missed any part of this, it's available on your website.
On the website, just go to southernsistershome.com. Click on the blog. That's where all our recipes are from our show every single week.
And in case you missed Southern Sisters Radio, it kicked off Man Cave Afternoon.
That's right.
On this very station.
On AM 920. We have ours every Saturday at noon, and we play it again on Sundays at 10 a.m.
Yeah, and you can catch the live version on Facebook Live.
We get a little crazy on the Facebook Live version.
Yeah, unfiltered and uncensored.
That's right. That's the in-between the segment fun that you get to see. So, yes, please go to our Facebook page, which is Southern Sisters with Jenny Earhart.
Jenny, always great to have you in One's World.
Thanks, Joey.